Okay, great. Let's do it. Okay, so the first one says, it says I'm using this. Is it turned on? Yep. Okay, it says give another name for angle 2. What's another name for angle 2? Angle A, B, D, or angle D, B, A. Okay, name the sides of angle CBE. What are the sides of those? Now, I did that too, but these are rays. So would that be the right name? It's got to be BC. Okay, so when you do this and you name it as a ray, remember the end point is first to the one where the arrow extends. So it's got to be BC. Got to be ray BC. And then what's the other one? Ray BE. Because remember, angles are made up of rays. Okay, two rays that come together at a vertex is an angle, so those are rays. Then number 3 says in the figure, ray BE bisects angle CBD. What's bisect mean? Cuts in half. If the measure of CBE is 3x minus 7, and the measure of CBD, that's the whole thing, is 94, what is the value of x? There's a couple ways you could do this. What's one way? Okay. That's one way. What's another way? Take half of 94. So you would do 3x minus 7 equals 94 divided by 2. Or you could just go ahead and half it. You don't have to write 94 divided by 2. You could just put equals whatever it is, and that would work. Either way. Most students do it this way because that's pretty much how I taught you to do that. So then you add the 14. What's that going to give us? And then what's 108 divided by 6? So x equals 18. Okay. Hopefully you're able to do those without me and feel like you are learning some in this class and learning how to do things. We know what a bisector is. We know how to name angles. So I feel confident that you guys are learning and are going to do well on your EOC, regardless of the craziness of our year. Okay, so get out your worksheets from yesterday. Did anybody not get those worksheets from the sub? Anybody absent yesterday and wants a paper copy? Ooh. So most of you, did everybody find the video in this class? Did anybody not find the video? Just go back and submit your notes with it. It's total, I won't mark it late or anything. Just like you can do a second submission or whatever. That's fine. So I don't want to waste y'all's time. Do y'all want to look at the homework? Yeah? Okay, let's look at the homework then. All right, which homework problems do we want to ask about? Number 5. All right. If we look at number 5, we've got a lot going on right here. But the first thing that I see, and like, okay, just because this says 1, 2, and 3, that doesn't mean that's the way you have to do it in. Okay, you don't have to go to number 1 first. You can start with number 3 if you want. Okay, you do whatever's going to be easiest for you. So for me, I'm going to start right here with number 2, with angle number 2, because I know that this exterior is 118. So that means the angle 2 and 73, their sum has to be 118. So the measure of angle 2 plus 73 equals 118. Okay, so then I'm going to subtract 73. the measure of angle 2 equals, what's 118 minus 73? 45. So the measure of angle 2 is 45 degrees. Now that I have the measure of angle 2, I can find the measure of angle 1. I like to cover things up because it just seems like sometimes it's too much. That's why I keep covering stuff up. So if I know that 2 is 45 and this one's 73, how can I find 1? That's right. So we're going to have to do 45 plus 73, add those up, and subtract it from 180. So what is 45 plus 73? Okay, so 118, 180 minus 118 is 62 degrees. That's angle number 1. You could have also known that these two are a linear pair, that they have to be a total of 180. That would have been that would have been a good way to do it. And that's what's cool about different ways for you to do this. So, I mean, his way may be even smarter than mine. Like, you know that is going to equal 180 because they're a linear pair. So just subtract it from 180. Well, then to find 2, you already have these two. So then you can just subtract those 2 from 180. Lots of different ways. Number 3 up here. How would you do that one? There's 2 different ways. You could look at it as a big picture, like a really big triangle. You know angle 1 is 62. You know angle down here is 49. So the angle up top has to be the remainder of the 180. Well, you already know 2, so then you could just take that away from what it's supposed to be, and that would give you 3. That's one way to do it. Let me do that so you can see that. So I know that 1 is 62 plus 49. What's 62 plus 49? 111, is that right? Okay, and then I'm going to take that from 180. What's 111 minus 180? 89? No, 79? Y'all know I suck at math. I don't even know I'm a math teacher. 69, even better. So then we take that from what we know 2 is. Well, 2 is 45. So we take that from 45, and that gives us 24. That's one way to do that. Not the only way, just one way. The other way to do it is to talk about your exterior angle, which is 73. So 73 is going to be the sum of 3 plus 49. So the measure of angle 3 plus 49 has to equal 73. That's the exterior theorem. That's what we're learning. Y'all put your phones up and listen. So I'm going to subtract 49 from 73. That gives me 24. So again, it gets 24. So like I said, lots of different ways to do the same thing. And whatever method you pick is fine, as long as you're getting the right answer. What else? Okay, number 6. This one's with the parallel lines. Okay, so remember, parallel lines are cut by a transversal, and then you have alternate interior angles. The alternate interior angles are congruent. So if this here is my first transversal, okay, so I'm covering up 1 and 2, and I'm just looking at this. I know that 3 and this one are alternate interior angles, and I know that 4 and 5 plus 52 are alternate interior angles. You see that? Okay, that's the same thing that we learned back when we just learned about parallel lines. So knowing that, what's 3 have to be? 47. Now, if that's 47, then 4 and 3 are a linear pair. What's their total going to be together? So I'm going to do 180 minus 47, which is 133. So this is 133. Now, if 4 is 133, that means this green one down here is also 133, the whole thing. This part is 52. So to find 5, I'm just going to do 133 minus 52, which gives me 81. Okay? So that means angle 5 is 81. This is just one approach. I just chose to start this way. That was my approach. Now I need 1 and 2. Okay, well, I know that 3 is 47. I know that 5 is 81. I can find 2 with the triangle sum theorem. The whole triangle has to be 180. So I'm going to figure out what 47 plus 81 is. 47 plus 81 is 128. I'm going to take that from 180. That is 52. Which apparently, if I'd have just looked over here, I would have known that 52 and 2 are alternate interior angles. So I didn't even have to really do that math. I could have just used the alternate interior angle and known if this is 52, that's 52. But either way, we got it. It's 52. Now, what are 1 and 2 together? They're 180. Okay, they're a linear pair. So then I can just subtract 180 minus 52. 180 minus 52 is 128. Okay? Just one way to do it. There are other ways to get those same answers. What else? I don't have the key printed for this one, but I can put the key on, unless this is the key. It is. Check that out. Look at me thinking ahead. I can always put the key on line as well. If you want me to add that to the module, I can totally do that for you to check your homework, but I probably should at least wait a little while until the students have done it, because otherwise they're just going to copy the key. If you don't have enough time to check yours and you want, what'd y'all do on the back? All of it? 12, 13, and 14. If you don't have enough time to check yours and you want to look at my key, you can do that at lunch, since y'all are with me during lunch, just to make sure you got yours correct. If you haven't done it, do it. All right, let's get you your copy for today. So y'all can go ahead and put all that old stuff up. We are going to be starting something new. Like I said, your module says that you have a quiz tomorrow, but I think what I'm going to do is swap that out and just teach you tomorrow in class and let you take your quiz at home, which benefits you because you can use your notes. You must be really popular. No? I'm just picking because you're on your phone all the time. You're fine. You're fine. I'm just picking on you. You're totally fine. I don't guess I've told everybody either. Like, some of you guys aren't sitting by a charger. If you want to charge your phone during like lecture, I have a charging station back here. I guess I haven't told all of the classes.
Would you send Kinsley Payton to attendance, please, and she's to bring her books?
Okay. So that is all. You don't have to have a cube. You just plug into that. Kinsley, that's you? That's what I thought. I just wasn't sure. Did you know you were checking out? Okay, good. There you go. Okay, did I give y'all one? I never give this table one. I didn't, did I? What the heck? They, I think, are only going to let us switch every 9 weeks. But since we started the week before the 9 weeks, I think they're going to want us to keep it the same. We have to like submit our assigned seats or whatever. I typically do it a couple times every 9 weeks, but I don't think that they want us to do that. We'll see. Just because that exposes you to more people. All right, y'all. We are going to be working on isosceles and equilateral triangles, which is really pretty simple. This would have been the lesson for me to leave for you to figure out by yourself, because it's actually the one that's pretty easy, but that's okay. So this isn't the lesson. I gave y'all the wrong lesson. Can I have that one back? Did I give everyone the congruent triangles? Just keep it. Just put it in your folders for tomorrow. That's tomorrow's. Man, I'm struggling. So keep that one for tomorrow. This is the one that we're doing today. Y'all remind me, because I'll try to give y'all another one tomorrow, and I don't have enough copies for that. Just winning. I'm just winning at life. I know, right? Try again. Take 2. Somebody that is good friends with Kinsley, tell her that that's not the right worksheet. Poor thing. She's going to get home and be like, this does not match. Okay, y'all got one. All right, let's try again. Okay, today we're going to be working on isosceles and equilateral triangles. All right, isosceles triangles. So an isosceles triangle has 2 congruent sides. They show that with the hash marks. They are called legs. That says the angle where the sides intersect is called the vertical or the vertex angle. That in this case is B. That's the one that is between the 2 sides that are congruent. So if you've got 2 congruent sides, the angle that joins those 2 is your congruent, your vertical angle. The side opposite the vertical angle is the base. Well, the other way that you can think about that is the only one that's not congruent. So these 2 are congruent, which means this has to be your base. Now, the base is not always going to be like the bottom part, okay? Your triangle can be like on its side, it can be upside down. Like, you just need to know that the base is the one that is not like the others, okay? And then it says the angles along the base are called base angles. So in this case, angle 2 and angle 3. Those are our base angles. Now, isosceles triangle theorem says if two sides of a triangle are congruent, then the angles opposite those sides are congruent. So if two sides of the triangle are congruent, then the angles opposite those sides are congruent. What that means is if AB is congruent to BC, like we have above, then angle A is congruent to angle C. So they may not come out and say that those angles are congruent, but you know they are because you know the sides are congruent. So those sides are congruent, their base angles are congruent. Vice versa, it says if angle A is congruent to angle C, if you know that the angles are congruent, then you know that their sides are congruent, because we never ever assume that anything is congruent. You can't just look at it and say that looks like it would be congruent. No, you have to have proof. They have to either tell you with the hash marks, put numbers like this is 7 and this is 7, or we just learned if they tell you about the base angles and they tell you that the base angles are congruent, then you also know that you have an isosceles triangle. Okay, so if we look at number 1. Number 1 has one angle that's 68. But they tell you with these hash marks that our sides are equal. So who else is 68? J. Because this is my base, which means my base angles are the same. So if J is 68 and L is 68, what's K? What you're going to do is you're going to take that 180, which is the sum of the whole thing. You're going to subtract out 68. Subtract out 68. That's going to give you 44. Or you could have said 68 plus 68, got your sum, be 136, and then take the 136 from 180, which is going to give you 44. So this one is 44. Make sense? Look at this number 2. Angle D is 106. Is that a base angle? No, that's your vertex angle. Your base angles are down here, okay, because this is your base. So how are we going to find those base angles? So what's 180 minus 106? Okay, and then what would we do with 74? Divide by 2, and what's that going to give you? Both of them are going to be 37. All right, now look at number 3. They did not tell you this was isosceles. There's nothing here that says this is an isosceles triangle, but they told you this is 77 and this is 77. So since both of those are 77, what do we know about the sides of the triangle? So what is the side YZ? 12 centimeters. Now how are we going to find Y? That's right. 180 minus 77, which is 26. I like to do it that way just because I can do it all together. Just do 180 minus 77 minus 77. But doing it with adding is totally fine too. You could say 180 minus and then in parentheses, get that. It's going to give you the same thing either way. So that's 26 degrees. All right, so those are the basic ones, just using numbers. So now we're going to kind of skip through this and move quickly just to make sure we can cover everything. We're just going to really talk about what we would do. You're going to actually get to do it on your homework. So with number 4, what would we do right here to find the variable? You know that those are base angles. This is my base down here. So we're just going to set those equal to each other. And we're going to solve. And that's all I need you to do. You know how to solve. This is an honors geometry class. You can do that. Over here, what do we do with these? Same thing. Set them equal to each other and solve. Now, number 6 is different. Instead of it being angles, we have the sides. So what are we going to do here? Yeah, it's the same thing though, right? This is the base. Instead of dealing with angles, we're dealing with our congruent sides. So 15x plus 7 equals 23x minus 17. And then solve that. Number 7. Is it different? These are your base angles, which means this down here is my base. So that means these two are equal to each other. They're congruent, so you set those two equal to each other and solve. Okay, we're just going through this quickly because like we literally only have 6 minutes of class left. All right, so let's look at number 8. So if we look at number 8 here, they're giving you this triangle and they're telling you who is congruent. They're telling us that those two sides are congruent. Well, they want you to solve for x and then find each measure. So what's the thing? Where are we going to start? Exactly. You take RT. Well, no, they give you the sides and then they give you the angles. So we do have to figure out which angles are congruent. So for me, I'm going to need to draw that out. Okay, so I've drawn this out. I'm labeling it RT. That's congruent to ST. So I've got RST. Okay, I have my congruent sides. RT is congruent to ST. I know that this is my base. So these are my base angles. R is a base angle and S is a base angle, right? So who do I set congruent to each other? R and S. So I'm going to take the measure of angle R and set it equal to the measure of angle S. So it is important that you set the right ones congruent to each other. If not, you're going to mess the whole problem up. So we've got 9x plus 2 equals to S, which is 13x minus 18. Okay, we're going to solve for x. Then what do we do to find all this over here? Plug in. All right, we need to go down to equilateral. So we're skipping those. You're still doing exactly the same things, but let's go to equilateral so we can get that before the bell rings. All right, with an equilateral triangle, a triangle is equilateral if and only if it is equiangular. Remember, lateral deals with the sides, angular deals with the angles. So it has the same measurements of sides and it has the same measurements of angles. So it says if the measure of angle A is equal to the measure of B, which is equal to the measure of C, then side AB is equal to BC, which is equal to AC. And vice versa, if all of the sides are equal, then all of the angles are equal. Now look at number 11. Angle B is 60, angle A is 60, so what's angle C going to be? Is there any other way to have an equilateral or an equiangular triangle other than 60, 60, and 60? What does a triangle have to equal? So 180 divided by 3 is That's it. That's if it's an equilateral triangle, all of the angles are going to be 60 every single time. That's the only way. You can't have 61, 61, and 61. That's more than 180. You can't have 59, 59, and 59. That's less than 180. So it has to be 60, 60, and 60 because they all three have to be the same. Now, if AB is 9, what's BC and AC? They have to be 9. They're the same. Over here, they want to know what the measure of each of the angles is. It has to be all 60s. There's no other way. Now, look at the bottom. Knowing what we just learned about angles, that's where I want to start. If you look at angle R, they give you an expression for that. What do we set 7x minus 3 equal to? 60. No, it's an angle. So since this is an angle, you set it equal to 60 because that's the only thing that the angles can equal. Now, what do we do about the sides? Does it matter which ones you set equal to each other? Just make sure they have the same variables. So this has got a y, and this has got a y, and this has got a y. So it's cool to use any of them. I'll just say 11y minus 23 equals 9y plus 1. And then you would solve. All right, I know that was really fast, but this tells you how to do it. You are doing the odds on the back. You don't have to do all of it. You just have to do the odds. Make sure that you submit your homework today. You don't have to do your notes today because you're in class with me and I see you taking your notes. But for your homework, you're submitting your odds. Now, if you just have one page to submit, you don't have to use the CAM scanner. You can just submit one picture unless you just like CAM scanner and that's how you want to keep doing it to keep your stuff organized. But it should just be one picture today of this page. Just make sure your name is on it. And that's it.